President Trump on Monday accused his predecessors of failing to reach out to Gold Star families. The response was quick and angry. Here's Margaret Brennan.
President Trump's claim yesterday that past commanders-in-chief did not call the families of the fallen created a firestorm.
The traditional way, if you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls.
Staffers for Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama quickly refuted Mr. Trump's claim, saying that they'd each called, written to, and met with Gold Star families. Today, President Trump went further, invoking one of those families to make a political point. He put the spotlight on his chief of staff, John Kelly, urging reporters to ask him whether he'd received a call from President Obama after his son Robert, a U.S. Marine, was killed in 2010.
I mean, you could ask General Kelly, did he get a call from Obama? You could ask other people. I don't know what Obama's policy was.
White House officials claim to be unaware of whether Mr. Trump had spoken to Kelly before making the remark. The retired Marine Corps general has actively avoided calling attention to his son's death, making it clear he does not want it to be exploited. But on a Memorial Day trip to Arlington Cemetery, President Trump called attention to the family's loss.
Robert died fighting the enemies of all civilizations in Afghanistan.
Today, despite the president's prodding, Kelly declined to comment. But a White House official who requested anonymity told CBS News, "I can tell you Obama did not call General Kelly after the death of his son." But White House records show that Kelly and his wife did attend a closed-door breakfast with Mr. and Mrs. Obama to honor Gold Star families a year after their son's passing. Obama staff told CBS News that Kellys were seated alongside the First Lady, but could not confirm a prior call.
You have sacrificed nothing, and no one.
It is not the first time that Mr. Trump has stirred controversy over a Gold Star family. As a candidate, he sparred with the parents of Captain Humayun Khan, killed in Iraq in 2004. They had spoken at the Democratic National Convention.
If you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say.
Late today, the White House said President Trump did speak with the families of all 4 of the fallen Green Berets killed in Niger and thanked them for their sacrifice. Elaine?
Well, Margaret, in an interview with Fox News Radio on Tuesday, President Trump said, quote, "You have to let a little time go by before calling Gold Star families." Is there typically a timeline for a president's response when a soldier is killed in action?
There's not really one that is written in stone. Certainly when you're in the middle of a pitched battle and war, when there are numerous deaths, the president isn't going to speak with each and every family, but will likely write a letter or reach out in some way, perhaps host them at the White House at a future date. That is something that many presidents have done. At a time where you aren't you may be in sustained conflict, but not having frequent deaths, and it is possible for the president to hone in on recent incidents, such as just what happened in Niger a few weeks ago. It is something that you do expect the president to publicly acknowledge and speak about, something the president didn't do until yesterday, and then privately reach out to those families. So it is that public lag in acknowledgement of the deaths that raised some eyebrows, but as the White House said tonight, they have now spoken by phone with the families, and we know President Trump said yesterday he had already written letters that were just mailed out. So there isn't a hard and fast rule on this, but it is tradition that all 5 living presidents have said they do indeed reach out to the families of Gold Star families to thank them for their sacrifice.
Meanwhile, on another issue, Margaret, a federal judge in Hawaii temporarily blocked President Trump's 3rd attempt at a travel ban on Tuesday. How big of a blow is this for the administration?
3rd time not a charm for the Trump administration on this, because you did see, as you just said, this Hawaii federal judge suspending it. No doubt this will continue to be litigated and challenged, so this isn't the final word by any means. And remember, the administration had said they had expected to go up to the Supreme Court and have this argument there. Our Jan Crawford can explain to you the legalities of what may or may not be now reaching their desk, given the new version of these travel restrictions, which the White House doesn't like to call a ban, points out they say that there are other countries on the list now, including North Korea, including Chad, including Venezuela, who don't fit that original commonality of being all Muslim majority countries. So they're arguing that that basis, that argument that there was bias, that there was a religiously based eye towards the list that was drawn up, they say that now this has disproven that assumption. They now argue that the president's public comments saying when he was on the campaign trail that he wanted something he called a Muslim ban should be disregarded. So it will continue to be fought out in the courts. In the meantime, from a purely national security focused point of view, you do have another added complication that the State Department's trying to sort out right now, which is that in Chad, the U.S. military and U.S. intelligence works closely with forces there on counterterrorism, particularly against Boko Haram, that group that's linked to ISIS. And now Chad's on the travel restricted list, so that has caused some concern with an ally here in the fight against terror, and that is something the State Department is trying to work out, similarly to what they did with Iraq, who was on that original ban list. So in some ways, the ban is complicating diplomatic and counterterrorism efforts overseas, but the White House argues this is all ultimately about protecting the homeland.
All right, Margaret Brennan at the White House for us. Margaret, thank you.